Gotta tell you guys, 2022 is just a little over half over, and it's been a terrific year for movies already. Between smaller, littler scene indies like The Outfit, big blockbusters like Top Gun Maverick and Elvis, and surprise hits like Everything Everywhere All at Once and the Indian action thriller Triple R, my list was packed with good movies that are totally worth renting or seeing in the theaters right now. This is not the same list. Wouldn't you believe it? I landed at a pretty round number. It is unlucky 13. This is that's right. We're doing the final half of our midterm report, the best and worst of the year. We did the best, now it's time to do the worst. So, before we begin, I just have a couple of, I guess, dishonorable mentions. They're the ones that didn't reach low enough to get. My criteria is that the movies that qualify for the worst list, I rate between 0 and 2 stars and no higher. They're basically completely a pass. But these ones are just ones I think are worth mentioning. Spiderhead, it's watchable. I didn't hate it, but it really didn't come together, and it was kind of frustrating. The other one is The Man from Toronto. This is a movie that's enjoyable, I guess, if you're folding laundry. I like Kevin Hart. I like Woody Harrelson. Separately, and I think they can be good together, but I really do think that they need to find a new angle on the Kevin Hart comedy, making him, he's short and motor-mouthed. The other guy is tall and stoic and sick of his shit. We've seen that movie before, it's done. When he does it with Dwayne Johnson, it's ever so slightly better. I liked Central Intelligence, for instance, but you gotta get some new shtick, bud. You're a terrific stand-up, like, you're a funny guy, and Woody Harrelson's always great, but this was a tired effort. That being said, though, here is the top 13. Now, basically the top 13 movies that if you see them on Showtime listings, or rental services, or red boxes, or streaming services, they're the ones you can scroll past or skip. These are the movies that, from just a garden variety, not successful to one of the worst movies, among the worst movies I've ever seen. This is my top 13 worst movies of the year so far, and I don't think a lot of them are going to change much. Clocking in at number 13, let's just jump right into it. Number 13, the last place, as you know, in my best and worst of lists, is the movie that I think is the closest to being successful. Now, this movie will certainly be higher on other people's lists. I was mention there's not a lot of well-known big movies on the worst of lists so far this year, and I think that's almost a good sign, because a lot of people, I think, skipped all these movies. The only sequel on here isn't even really a sequel, so that's a good sign. But number 13, I always like to save the last place for a movie that is the closest to being successful, the one where there are moments where I'd watch again, if not the whole movie. So my number 13 is going to Good Morning. This is, as you probably have known, the Machine Gun Kelly Mod Sun film. And it's not a terrible movie. I have to say that right off the bat. It's not terrible. It has a lower rating on Letterboxd than another movie we'll get to that's higher, which is a travesty. It has ambition, and it does have moments that are genuinely funny. And even some moments that are genuinely kind of smart and kind of in a stoned out, really funny if you're highway, like almost like this is kind of the gold standard, but the thing like Aqua Teen Hunger Force, the movie. It doesn't reach that height, but there are individual moments where you could see the germ of it there, of that kind of anti-comedy stoner, or like an Eric Andre or Nathan For You kind of thing, or even like How High Dude Where's My Car levels. Doesn't get there, but it's a case of this is a short film that does not have 93 minutes of material to make a film out of. And it kind of, even the ending of the movie sort of implies that the filmmakers knew that. And it's one of the funniest scenes in the movie, the very end of the movie. But that, I think, reinforces the point. But again, I like Machine Gun Kelly and I like Mod Sun. I want to see their next film. I genuinely did. Because there's just enough here where I'm like, you have it. Just make more of a story out of it, and your next movie could be a stoner classic. Not quite here yet, but it's good. It has its moments. It was a 2-star movie. I honestly almost gave it 3.5 just for the parts that worked, but I couldn't, quite go there. It was 2 stars, but it's the bottom of the list. It's low on the list. Number 12 is another movie that I think has good qualities. The point of view is the problem. Number 12 is Sex Appeal. This is on Hulu. I know some people like it. Josh, if you're watching this, I know you enjoyed the film, and I'm glad you did. I can see it. Critics have generally liked this movie, and I didn't hate this movie. I kind of hated the lead character, though. Like, there are moments of, again, inspiration. There's moments of humor in it. And I really like this young actor is kind of... I know he's been around a little bit, but he's really come more to my attention in the last couple years. Jake Short, who plays, like, the male lead in this, really a terrific young actor. But the issue is the lead character in this is such a pill. Like, she's so humorless and just kind of... I think there's a difference between a character being smart and being bookish and kind of book smart, and just being a drip. And she's kind of a drip. And I didn't like how her character behaved. I didn't like how she was just kind of shitty to everyone, and it wasn't really amusing or really made you feel it. The actress was fine. I actually don't blame her for this. I kind of more blame the screenwriting on it. But yeah, I couldn't go for sex appeal. If it was about the Jake Short character, it might have been. And I also, one other thing I have to say I admire is that I mentioned A Last American Virgin in my original review. That's what kind of things I like about it, is that sex appeal does try at the end to go for a more realistic ending, but it's too little too late. So sex appeal is number 12. Number 11. It has an actor you'll see at least twice on here. Hint, he's only been in 2 movies so far this year. And this is another movie with some good qualities that is just... 11 is Memory. This is one of 2 films starring Liam Neeson this year that have both kind of sucked. Memory, though, was directed by Martin Campbell. He was a director who is hit or miss, but when he hits the bullseye. Casino Royale, anyone? GoldenEye, anyone? Mask of Zorro. But here, it's just... I don't know. They're putting him through the familiar trappings, and then they're throwing all this incendiary material about child molestation and dementia and these themes that are really heavy themes that are worth examining, but they're used just sort of as pieces to the puzzle of just another Taken wannabe, and it didn't work. I didn't, and in fact, let's put it this way. When you have Liam Neeson in your movie, and the best actor is not Liam Neeson, in this case it's Guy Pearce. I love Guy Pearce, but that's saying something. Let's put it this way. The same week I saw Memory in the theater, I watched, for the first time ever, a movie from about 15 years ago that had Monica Bellucci in it called Shoot 'Em Up, and it was awesome. Just watch Shoot 'Em Up. It's a better Monica Bellucci action thriller. Alright, number 10. This is where we get into the so bad it's good ones. Number 10. The King's Daughter. King's Daughter. Yeah. What can you expect from an 8 years completed and on the shelf former Disney fantasy movie directed by the guy who made Bratz and Baby Geniuses 3 and 4 and Cats and Dogs 3. Yeah! Cinematic gold is what you get out of that. The sad thing to notice is, I think, William Hurt's final film before he passed away, which makes me sad, because William Hurt was a phenomenal actor. The King's Daughter is just the most misguided fairy tale movie I've seen in forever. And Pierce Brosnan, the guy can be so good, but here he's just... His bad hair is like carrying his performance in this. It's terrible. However, I will say this. I saw it... This was sort of the second piece of bread in sort of a sandwich where the meat of it was Sundance this year, where I saw one movie that was terrible, a bunch of good movies at Sundance, and then another movie that's terrible. So this was the lesser of those terrible movies. We'll get there. But yeah, just dumb. Number 10 is The King's Daughter. Number 9, speaking of Liam Neeson, number 9 is Blacklight. They never tell you why the movie's called Blacklight. How bad is this movie? What culture put it on its list of the best movies of the year so far, and they accidentally used footage from a different Liam Neeson movie, that movie being Honest Thief, and nobody called them on it because anyone would be confused. This is as generic as they come. It's not quite offensive like Memory is. In fact, Blacklight's so bad it's kind of funny. And this also was a first for me. I never really if I ever utter anything in a movie theater out loud, it's usually a knee-jerk reaction. Like when I saw The Black Phone, I was like, but I did it kind of quietly. I was in a movie theater with two other people. We all kind of collectively were like, we're the only ones here. Wow. Got about an hour, roughly halfway into the movie. About an hour. I said out loud to them, I think I mentioned this in my review, hey, you guys. They kind of looked at me, already giggling and laughing like they knew what I was going to say. And he goes, yeah? And I'm like, do you guys know what the hell is going on right now? And they said, no. No, dude, we don't know what the fuck's going on. Man, it is just convoluted and terrible and funny as hell. Just... yeah. Number 9 is Blacklight. Number 8, speaking of misguided, number 8 is, holds the record for the single longest review for a single film review I've ever had on this channel. It was so long we had to take a break. And it was basically a breakdown of the entire movie. You know what it is. Number 8 is The Wolf and the Lion. What a misguided, weird Canadian children's movie that played in a wide release, I guess, because it came to my theater. Still haven't gotten Marcel the Shell with shoes on, Edwardsville, just saying. Wolf and the Lion is just delightfully stupid. This is a movie that if you change the music and you change the tone of the image, it's a movie about a psychopath. It's a movie about an unhinged young woman. This is like Free Willy if it was told from the point of view of the people who were trying to keep Willy from being free. Imagine Free Willy if the little boy from Free Willy was the bad guy. That's this movie. What a piece of shit. But we don't have to go into it. There's a 24-minute long review of it. You know where to go. In fact, we're probably going to take a break here in a second once we get to a round number. So, number 7, the best bad movie of 2022 goes to... you know what it is. A movie I watched on a whim because it was number 1 on Netflix. Choose or Die. Choose or Die is my number 7. What a gloriously bad movie. Like, just... it's... so far this year... it's sort of taken the crown at the top. A.k.a. the True to the Game 3 award for cinematic inexcellence. Like, just the most hilariously dumb horror movie. I don't know, Smile might take it over. Who knows, Smile could be good, but... I like, Susie Bacon, but... man, this is just... what a delightful piece of shit. And my number 6 movie, you don't even have to get into that much. It's the lone sequel. Number 6 is The Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild. We're now in the zeros, by the way. Number 6 is The Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild. What a piece of crap. It is just shrieky and unnecessary and poorly animated. It looks like a Skittles commercial. Like, just go away. Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild. Don't waste Simon Pegg's time. He's too good for this. It's not even about Buck Wild. I'm sorry. I remember when the Ice Age movies were good, or at least I thought they were good when I was 9 when the first one came out. Just go extinct, Ice Age movies. And also, don't kill off Scrat, Disney. Fuck you, Disney. Alright. We will do the top 5 after the break. Take care. Hey, welcome back. Quickly running down our list so far. Number 13 is Good Morning. Number 12 is Sex Appeal. Number 11 is Memory. Already forgotten it. Number 10 is The King's Daughter. Just delightful. Number 9, Blacklight. Number 8, The Wolf and the Lion. Just what were they thinking? Number 7, Choose or Die. And number 6, The Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild. Be fucking gone with you. Now we get into number 5. Number 5 movie on this list. Another zero movie. The rest are all zeros. Just different levels of zero. Number 5 is a movie that's actually getting good reviews, which I cannot believe. And that is My Fake Boyfriend. This movie just pissed me off. And the thing is like, the goal of the people making, then again, no, because it's cynical. But I support the more mainstream films with LGBTQ plus representation. Absolutely. One of my favorite films so far this year is Fire Island. It's a great movie. That's a movie made with heart. That's a movie made with genuine depth of feeling to it. One of my honorable mentions last year was Everybody's Talking About Jamie. I like this representation when it's good. This is bad. This is like, okay, everything Fire Island did well in telling this kind of, LGBTQ, queer love story. This does everything wrong. It's shot like a TikTok video. It's edited like one. It looks like a sitcom. And it's just terrible. It makes no sense. It starts out being a romantic comedy. It becomes almost like a Terry Gilliam movie in the last 20 minutes for no reason. Dylan Sprouse is just totally... What does he do? Fucking Trevor! Okay, no, that's so bad it's good. After movies. All of them. But, like, come on, Dylan. Cole is crazy. How is it that Cody would go... between Zach and Cody would be the one who would be the heartthrob and be really good. And I like Dylan Sprouse. I don't want him to be in shit. I want him to be in good movies. Come on, Dylan Sprouse. We miss you, man. Come back. Sarah Hyland, and then Kenan Lonsdale. Kenan Lonsdale is a consistently terrific young actor. I really don't know what happened here. Speaking of Kenan Lonsdale, just go watch Love, Simon. That's what this is trying to be and not succeeding at being. This feels like it's written by an algorithm. Love, Simon and Love, Victor, the show it's based on, are terrific. Just go watch those. I think they're both on Hulu. Go watch those. Just skip this. This is terrible. It feels like it's made by an algorithm. Probably was. BuzzFeed is one of the producers. I mean, I don't hate BuzzFeed, but they shouldn't be making movies. We're not talking Spielberg here. Yeah, number 5 is My Fake Boyfriend. Number 4 is another movie that's gotten relatively good critical reviews, and I still cannot understand why. This movie was a nothing of a movie. It was pretentious, and I like pretension when it's earned, not when it isn't. Number 4 is Windfall. I fucking hated this movie. There's nothing this movie's not about anything. It's literally just these obnoxious people played by good actors. Like, it's Jesse Plemons, Lily Collins, and Jason Segel. Jason Segel, I like that he's coming back. I miss Jason Segel. I love Marshall Erickson. Forgetting Sarah Marshall is one of my favorite comedies. 5-Year Engagement, underrated, funny-ass movie. The Muppets, End of the Tour. Like, the guy's a phenomenal actor and a really good comedian, but, like, let's put it this way. He was good in The Sky Is Everywhere. I always forget that one. That was a good movie. And Winning Time. That's another one. Go on HBO right now and watch, if you haven't seen it, watch Winning Time, Rise of the Lakers Dynasty. It's phenomenal. This movie is just... It's a bunch of obnoxious people walking around fucking mansion, just yelling at each other and cursing each other out for an hour and a half. And then, spoiler alert, I guess, Lily Collins kills both men and then just kills both of them and leaves. That's it. It's over. After waxing philosophical about morality and nonviolence, this movie can suck my dick. I hated this movie. Just get out of here. Pseudo-philosophical bullshit. I hate movies like this that just don't do the extra steps. They just think they're so smart, but they don't do the extra steps. Movie just acquired The Cathedral. Just watch that. It's a much better, low-budget... Film Socialism is another one, too. Fuck Jean-Luc Godard. I'm sorry. That guy hasn't made a good movie in 40 years. People love that movie. That movie pissed me off. Skip Film Socialism and just watch Mark Kermode's review of it. It's the funniest. It's funnier than... It explains the entire movie in 5 minutes, and it's hilarious. Alright. Anyway, moving on. We're not going to do 3 parts here. Number 4 is Windfall. Just fuck off. Number 3, you may be surprised, is only number 3. I watched this movie on a dare. It's a movie that has been on a lot of people's lists. There have been think pieces by everyone who looks at animation, and Saber Spark has a particularly good one. You know what it is. Oh, you know what it is. Marmaduke says bow wow. Number 3 is Marmaduke. Why did they make this? Just... Everyone in this movie except the dog is also, like, the shittiest person. Like, it's just so... It's one of those movies... I'll quote Roger Ebert again. When he reviewed Little Indian Big City, it's like someone translating another language into English, like dubbing it, but then before that language becomes English, it goes through a third language that's not known on either sides of the world. That's this movie. It's bizarre. It's really weird. Pete Davidson sounds stoned as fuck, and I love Pete Davidson. I know that it's become kind of fashionable to just hate Pete Davidson. I'm not crazy about his girlfriend. I like Pete Davidson, though. He's a great stand-up, and he's a pretty solid actor. I like the guy, but... Go watch SMD, his stand-up special. It's one of the funniest hours of stand-up I've seen in a long time. Talking about watching Jaws when he's high on pot, it's hilarious. This movie just... Oh my god, it's... J.K. Simmons, you are so good. Why are you... Anyone whose filmography includes films like Whiplash, Juno, and Up in the Air knows what a good fucking script looks like. Why are you in this? I know you need a paycheck. I forgave you for Rock Dog, because that had some charming moments. But this movie was just fucking miserable to sit through. I hated this movie. Fuck Marmaduke. Don't make a third one of these. Just leave it alone. This is a character that is not fit for a motion picture. If you could even call it. Also, just... Talking on my Discord about this movie was the closest thing I got to any kind of therapy watching this. Shitting in the trophy, just fuck off, Marmaduke. Not the dog, he was fine, the movie. Number 2, he's a simple dog, he wants to eat pies off the counter. Just don't make him into a movie. Let him eat the pies off the counter and skip the movie. However... It's not the worst comedy on this list. Number 2, speaking of movies that have higher things than Good Morning, number 2 is possibly the... Next to my number 1... Let me put it this way. Number 1, on a moral level, number 1 was harder to sit through, but if you're really... And it offended me more on like a moral level, but if you're really breaking it down, number 2 was hardest to sit through. And you know what it is. Just fucking family camp. Just fucking family camp. Why is this movie... Why? Just why is it a movie? Who signed off on this? Who signed off on this character? He's just worse than Jar Jar Binks. And then, like, all the characters are annoying, but at least, like, the other dad is, like, sensible. And he's made to look like a fucking asshole for it. Same thing happened kind of in My Fake Boyfriend, except Keenan Lonsdale turned into a dick at the end, too. I really don't get it. This movie actually made some money. Like, it did okay. Why? I don't get it. What is the appeal of it? Not at my screening, because I was the only one there, which thank Jesus. Because I would just fucking died from anger if I couldn't just curse this movie out in an empty theater while it was going on. I actually pulled out my phone and started texting my brother during this movie and just giving him the play-by-play of every reason this movie fucking sucks. I hated this movie. And it's almost 2 hours. Just fuck off with that. I hate movies. Worst thing about a bad movie is a long bad movie. Speaking of... Yeah, okay, number 2 is Family Camp. Just leave it alone. We'll talk about it at the end of the year, I'm sure. Very late, top of the list. My number 1 movie is a movie that is The Girl Who Believes in Jesus Orb of the Year. It is a movie that is so just morally reprehensible and ugly, and it's actually, let's just be real, kind of evil. My number, not enough people are saying it, some people are, but not enough. My number 1 movie, you know what it is. It's a movie, I'm sorry to all the 40-something women and their teenage daughters who are going to try to light my ass on fire for this. I'm fucking sorry. Can't lie, my number 1 movie is Redeeming Love. Just this, and it was the other half of that sandwich. This movie just seems like it's built from the ground up to make life difficult for women. Like, it seems like it is just, it's 2.5 hours almost, which, why? It's like 2 hours 15, but still, why is it that long? It's just... But then on top of that, along just being bad in general, I was in a theater full of people who were eating this shit up. Just... And let's put it this way, I was the only guy in the theater that wasn't there on a date. It just was just... disconcerting. It was one of those movies that was just not only bad, it was just corrosively ugly, in the sense that, and I rarely say that, it was depressing. I was sitting in that theater just like I wanted to leave about a half an hour in, because I kind of sat there and just thought, around the time that they were forcefully sterilizing the lead character against her will, like about an hour into this movie, and I just sat there and said, life is precious. I had that moment, that kind of like Roger Ebert at Wolf Creek, where I'm like, life is short. And I'm spending it giving money and attention, even a fraction of it, to people whose morally I just completely find repugnant. Who are spreading this apologetic shit about making women made to feel like they have no agency, that they have no life outside of being someone's husband or being the victim of abuse. Like, they have no life where they can have their own way, they can have their own life, a job, a career, anything. It's just either cook and clean for a man or let him use you as his personal rape doll. That's all this is. This is a movie that, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be dark about it, but it's true. This movie is despicable. It's misogynistic, it's mean-spirited, and it's ugly. I hated this movie. I never want to... Once this year is over, I never want to talk about this, and we get to the end of the list, where this will certainly be still at number 1. Nothing could be worse than this. I never want to speak about this movie again. I never want to think about this movie again, other than in shuddering thoughts of when I think of the worst movie of the year. This, of all time. This movie is just... It made me sick to my stomach, and what made it even worse is that I feel ashamed of myself that I stayed. Because I know that I'm reviewing movies, and I'm not going to be one of those guys who's going to review a movie that I spend only half hour watching, because I don't feel that's fair to any movie. Because there are movies, let's be real, since we started this, there have been movies that I've started that I intended to review that I never finished and therefore never reviewed. A Diana the Musical, for instance. Music. I got 20 minutes into those and turned them off, because I didn't want to... But I tend to not do that, because I very rarely. So I stayed to the bitter end, and it just got worse and worse by the minute. I fucking hate this movie. Just redeeming love isn't redeeming anything. It's just ugly and despicable. But luckily, there are a lot of good movies you guys can watch instead in the other list. These are the ones you can avoid. And I mean this sincerely when I say that this year has had some movies that have genuinely revived my hope in cinema. Movies that are just magical and beautiful. Things like Petite Maman and Worst Person in the World and Everything Everywhere. These are movies that should be celebrated. Top Gun Maverick. These are movies... Elvis. Good luck to you, Leo Grande. These are movies that should be celebrated. And I hope you do. And I know I got angry in this video, but we're going to say goodbye. And until we meet again, we were all raised on popcorn. Make mine with extra butter. Like, subscribe, all the things. Catch you guys next time. See you in the next one. Bye.